with a side of fries. It's that black glow, make me wanna back it up, right, right. Yeah, modest but a freak.
Hey everyone, how y'all doing this afternoon? You know, it's almost time for my show. I started at 3 o'clock. I'm getting on a little live. Guess I'm gonna end my other pretty early, I guess. But hey everybody, how y'all doing this afternoon? Come on live with me. Invite, when you come into the room, invite and share for me, please. You know, I appreciate it. But we're finna get ready to go live in the studio. I'm at WRFU UCIMC. I'm in Champaign, Illinois. Yeah. Champaign, Illinois. But we're on the University of Illinois campus. We're close to it. We're downtown. But come on live with me today. Come on live with me. Like and share for me. When you come into this room, please. We're going to talk about a few things going on, you know, all around, I guess, globally. What's going on in your relationships? What's going on with Black community and Black love? What does that look like? You know, I think a lot of times we're not really talking about what needs to be focused and talked upon a lot of times. Is empowerment, elevation, leveling up for the Black community. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's what we should talk about today. Maybe that's what we should hit with a little bit. I got a suggestion for a conversation topic. How do you build Black unity? Black unity. Relationship development. What does that look like? You know, what do you want offered? What do you want offered? Well, man, it's a topic. Right now we're at 251. 251. Hey, how y'all doing? Come on live with me today. We got about 10 minutes before we go live in the studio. You can tune in to us as well. We're on WRFU CIMC. See, we got quite a little build up in the room today. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Yeah. But we're live here at WRFU UCIMC. I'm in the studio today. That's what it is for now. For now. Yeah, what's going on with everybody? It's close to the weekend. It's almost school. Kids are getting back in school. I'm looking at the school prices of they back to school supplies are ridiculous right now. I'm glad it's not me anymore. I'm glad that I got to take a break from it. You know, tell me. I was fortunate in that aspect. My children are big people now. They're big people now. We got about 7 minutes before we go live in the studio. And today I'm at WRFU CIMC. This is like my typical get up. DJ BJ had it crumped to the up in there. I don't know what he got going on, but that was one of them shows where he felt really I guess when he put that little mix together, he felt really like in a party mode.
Caribbean.
Maybe he was there. Maybe he was there because DJ BJ be all over the world, you know. Being an Olympian and all, you know, that's what you do, I'm imagining, right? Hey cousin, what's going on? But I'm live in the studio today. I'm at WRFU UCIMC. Like and share for me, please. When you come up in the place, you know, they used to tell you you're supposed to bring something when you come. Now we asking you to share something when you come. Just share a little something. It's not too difficult, you know. Anyway, we're going to talk about a few little things today, I guess, going on. Somebody had suggested, you know, to give some tips, some creative acts that you could possibly potentially do within your community for Black unity. What does that look like for us? You know, let me tell you this, since the church is not trusted anymore, you know, a lot of times, you know, for the majority of people that are in their 30s, 40s, 50 in that realm, they don't really participate in going to church and for the services because they don't believe in the unity of that. I'm sure, you know, I got mostly people online with me that go to church and they attend services and you give your finances to that particular organization. But for the most part, I rarely am seeing any Black families say they getting up in the morning to go to church on a Sunday or any day. If I'm wrong, you know, y'all can tell me and let me know. But for the majority of it, I don't think people take in, or they don't trust the church. Let me say that. They don't trust the church in order to go to the church for guidance. So if you don't trust going to the church for guidance, then where do you go? If you don't trust the big mamas in the church, where do you go? If you don't trust the big mamas of the church now, remember we used to be able to trust big mama and them back in the day in the church. That's who you went to for correct. That's who corrected you. If you was acting up on the seat of the pew, you got corrected. If you've not ever done that, if you've not ever participated in growing up in church, this conversation probably is something that you ain't never heard of or seen. But let me explain something for the church kids who know what I'm talking about. You remember getting pinched by, you know, the older mothers of the church. You got corrected. And if we don't even trust them now, then what do you do? Do you trust your grandkids right now? For most people that are on my live with me, young ladies that are in their 30s and their 40s, do you trust your kids with your parents? That's a real question. Do you trust your kids with your parents? Because now, you know, the new parents of this new age are trying to go out to the club. They want to, you know, hang out. They want to kick it, right? But they like, you know, I'm not seeing a lot of grandparents because I'm a grandma. It's not that I don't want to be with my grandkids and stuff like that. Malaysian, them, no, stop playing with me. But for the majority, you don't really see the grandparents really with grandkids. You see a lot of people post pictures online, you know what I mean? And we all see that. We see about them on vacations and 30,000 people in, and you taking your grandkids to the wherever, right? But for the majority of adults that are between 30 and 40 years old right now, online with me today, do you trust your parents with your kids? Because that's a real... Listen, somebody doing a whole lot of hearts on this thing. But, you know, that's a real question. Because you know what? For me, as a child growing up, my mother, absolutely, I trusted my mother with my kids. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew she would take care of them. But for the majority of us that are a little bit older, do you guys trust your parents with your children? You know, let's talk about that. For real. So anyway, we finna get ready to go live in the studio. I'll be going live at about 3 o'clock. If you want to tune in, if you're in your car, it's on WRFU 104.5 FM. And it's live on the station, okay? But yeah, let's talk about it today. Let's talk about it today. Excuse me. Let's go on and see. Yes, it is. There's husband back there. But come on back in the studio. 2:59. We got one more minute. And we'll be going live in the studio here, okay? We got 1 minute now. One more minute. Come on. One more minute. Like and share when you come in for me, please. We're going to go live in the studio today. We're at WRFU UCIMC. And, yeah. Let's have this conversation. Do you trust your parents with your kids? Right now.
Question, do you trust your parents with your kids? Was one of the topic questions.
2:59. Come on.
The dynamics of not having that comfort and surety behind that, what it does to the separation.
Hello. Thanks so much for tuning in to me this afternoon. You're on live with Afternoons with Delight. And like I said before, thanks everybody for tuning in to me. Really appreciate you taking time out of your day. And before we get started today, I got to go over my legal ID. I do this at the top of the hour every time that I come on. WRFU is an open forum for the Urbana-Champaign community. Views expressed are those of the speaker and guests, and they are not intended to represent WRFU UCIMC. Before I do anything, I always introduce who's in the studio with me today, and Draper is here.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm hoping everybody having a peaceful spirit this afternoon, and hopefully we can have some great dialogue and share some information just about how we feeling and where we're going.
Hey, I mean, that's what we're here for. Mm-hmm. So today, before we got on live officially, right, we were going over and inviting people on the lives with us, and just for topics of conversation. One person asked, about how we can build community. And so, I went into the spiel of, okay, I understand that, but I said, we started talking about church and the foundations and being corrected in that manner. And then, what I thought about?
Right.
Do you trust your parents with your kids? And I'm like, in the manner of correction, because I'm like, we've got all these young people out here. We're seeing them go through things that I am unsure of and how we got here.
Right.
And people can say it's the music and the blah, 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 whatever. But I also believe it's a separation that occurred between households.
Absolutely.
I feel like we stopped sending kids to grandma and grandpa, and to get them to get that correction, or just build that relationship where they could hear from somebody that's older than even their parents about wisdom. I think that's moved. It's moot now. There's no such thing happening. I mean, I see people posting pictures online and different things like that, but then for the meat of it, where do you see them actually being with grandparenting? You know what I mean? I don't see a lot of grandparents taking time with the kids, is what I'm saying.
I mean,
and then
the relationships from my years with grandmothers and the ones that's older than me with their grandmothers was totally different than me today being a grandfather. You know what I'm saying? And going forward, for those who moving forward, those, the younger after us, 40 and 41, that's grandparents.
Right.
The mindsets that we have, just being honest, if I'm talking about self, I grew up to where mostly our survival were through broken homes. You know what I'm saying? Mothers or fathers may have had addictions or bad behaviors that was normalized because this is how they lived.
Right.
You know, so just paying attention to they bad moments, which can be abusive moments, fights, or you know, anything, drug use, or you know, the things that kids go through and experience, and that you really don't know how to really look at something normalized when you got the dysfunctional family, because most of the teachings was off a demonic upbringing. You know what I'm saying? You talking about some people, parents, fathers was straight gangsters, or just all they was street guys, and that's all a kid seen for as a parent.
Right.
Some mothers may have been women of the night, or you know, the women that just don't pay attention because they more focus on their beauty and their success or whatever, or just having fun and not really taking parenting serious because it's a way out experience that nobody know really how to handle.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So when you really get tasked with being a parent, ain't no rule book. So you do the best. So most of us as men say, hey, we're going to try to buy. I'm going to buy all the stuff I can for the kids.
Right.
I'm going to, you know, maybe go to the show here and that stuff. The stuff that you can possibly think of with the time that you try to make available for them, realistically, because sometimes we chose to go outside and hang with the partners, or go outside and hang with the crowd, because that's more of the magnet to where what was the responsible mindset, and that in our ways. You know, we said we supposed to did these things, but the risk factor that the men had to take to even be those type of guys.
Right.
You know, but all the betrayal behind that, because none of that stuff meant anything.
Right.
So that's the thing that hurts when the wool get pulled from under your face, and then you can say, hey, you know what? Man, I failed as a parent because I didn't pay attention and have the fortitude and the mindset to give up all that, because that was so important to my life to just, you know, be successful in having things.
Right.
But I wasn't happy, because I felt like now when you really realize it, when you have many multi things, you're going to attract people that either going to love you or hate you. And then when you don't know how to have discernment to pick those people, you will accept everybody when they truly don't even care about you.
And see, can I piggyback off of that right quick?
Right.
They either hate you or hate you. You said love you or hate you. I truly
believe it's both, because it's yin and yang. Some moments they might be inspired and see some great things about you, but since I don't know how to converse or figure out some things, that if it is a certain thing that they want to know about you, or help them implement them themselves, you know, who has the decency and the respect to really humbly ask a brother or sister, hey, could you help me develop some type of better sound way of, you know, having direction and this field that I see that you operating in, instead of just trying to, you know, criticize, gaslight, all the little tactics we do for attention. And those are toddler behaviors.
And that's
when you don't know how to communicate and ask for assistance and help, not to take advantage of somebody, but humbly come and just like, I'm trying to learn, man. I ain't got time to be wasting, you know, not trying to be the best me, you know.
And see, that's what I'm saying. But a lot of people, I think a lot of times people can be attracted to you at different levels of demonic attacks. I think people that genuinely love you stick with you throughout the entire gist of it. It's just like your parents. You know what I'm saying?
But and then you meet, you're gonna meet that's just, hey, I was a great experience, a moment,
and that's what I'm saying.
And that's what it is. You know, and it's not a bad thing.
Not saying that it was a great experience, because most of the times, like I'm explaining, is that, you know, we end up saying that, you know, a lot of people had good intentions, but we've never had that conversation with that person to even confirm if it was or not.
Right.
Until you've lapsed in some years and you're able to go back and have real conversations with people where they're ready to admit that portion. And sometimes, like I said, most often what I've witnessed, I've seen, I've heard, I've went through is that from the gate, a lot of people never came in with good intentions with you from the beginning. And we think that just because those behaviors don't mimic the verbal attacks, the aggression, the meanness, or whatever, that they're being good to us now. Because what I'm seeing is we can have people around you that cater to you.
Right.
And you've seen that. that will cater to you completely, do everything that you like, but then their intentions with you is completely all wrong.
Right.
You know, and I think that's the deception of either side, because both sides play this game with each
But
other.
those are learned behaviors
And
that
that's-
you get
yes.
behind someone doing those things to you.
Yes.
You know, because you counteract.
Yes.
If somebody did something slick to you, I ain't saying you intentionally do it, but somebody else going to be a victim of that play that was done, because those are stuff that you can recall, and it be situations where it's set up to play those type of moves, because you talking about a street game that has no rules.
No.
Right? But the only intentions to convince people about the rules is the people who win it. I gotta tell you not to do this, and that, and that, and this, because I'm trying to win. And if I don't allow you to have my rules and regulations of what is the righteous way for me to get away, then you will cause destruction. So it was a lot of manipulation
Yes.
and real mind control that was on the innocent, because a lot of people were vulnerable jumping off these porches. Because remember, you wasn't taught that, how to come out there and just, you know, knowing how to get up under people and befriend them as if you got true good means. Those are stuff you pick up out there in the dust and the nature, because some plays like that goes on because really people are meeting each other without the proper greetings. You know what I'm saying? We just jumping in, probably having some sessions. You might drink or smoke or anything with people, and then you calling that a friendship.
Right.
That's not no real friendship, because you done had a beverage or some stuff that's gonna alter our mind.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? So when you talking about a man's build, and a man's build to be able to teach young men, you have to be mature.
Yeah.
You have to really know your wisdom and really be knowledgeable about the wisdom you interpreting. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't going to understand you. Because it's a process to this stuff. And it's as we grow and as you really start to look into where we supposed to be, or what type of goals we setting for ourselves, what type of changes, that this is a true evaluation that you got to have an inventory to do consistently, especially in these days and time. You know, because you can get pulled and distracted to go in one certain belief system, and you will never achieve nothing that really was for you to make you who you were supposed to be. Because it's all about distractions. Everything is pulling your attention. But what are you focused on? Because like I say, if you have an identity crisis, if you're struggling with things that you may not know, such as mental problems, we all probably struggle with something, but just don't know how to really look at that from ourselves, because that's how we used to just making it, do toughen it out. Because you can't conversate with too many people, because you expressing and venting yourself, somebody might go back and try to, you know, switch the story around and try to paint you as a bad person. Because everybody don't know how to clean up house and work on themselves. And that might be uncomfortable to even be around people who even in a mindset to do that. Because it irritates somebody who don't even ready to do anything like that, especially when they already thought they figured out life. Because it gives you so many twists, there's no answers. So, but you got to start preparing. And a lot of us had a lot of fears because of the lack of information we didn't know. Because when you do know stuff, a lot more better decisions can be made. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's just really looking at reality, because to keep repeating the same cycle, to keep repeating the same feelings, the bitterness, the hatred, what are we hanging around? What are we engaging? What are we dissecting and allowing it to be that clingy situation to where we can't release something so we can be good people? What's hurting everybody, I feel, in the culture, to where everybody's so bitter because we ain't enjoying each other and helping. We were outside people. We communicate. We create parties. We do all these different things to build so we can get each other's essence, to learn stuff like that. Let's remember, when we came from down south, we was supposed to go back and teach them when we learned something up here. We stayed up here. We never went back to teach nobody nothing. We got distracted, and it done got out of hand now to where we done became the savages of struggle, you know, because we're not getting respected equally, and we trying every facet way to seem like we finna get the true assistance that we need, but we're getting stringed along, and we're not getting an opportunity to grow fairly. You know, and with that being mean, anything you challenge and try to take on, if it's not a fair opportunity for you to do it, you're going to always have some struggles, because it's designed to make you feel like you're a failure. Because those are feelings of doubt. All these things create problems. What affects the spirit and soul, and you're not going to function properly.
I totally understand that.
You know.
So this brings us right back around to this circle. Is it that do people trust your parents with your kids?
You know, I feel like for me, it's just that I had to heal from some of that stuff. So I understood the nature of my parents, and my parents wasn't, no abusers like that. Besides the mental and things of growing up, just because they had a lifestyle themselves, and I was neglected for us, and just actually having a clear-minded parenthood. So that's when kids like me would be at grandma's house. Most
right.
of us, and
that's
like
what
that. That was the teachers,
and
of
that's what
love
we're talking
and
about.
The things that most of the men that grew up with families like that have is grandmama. That's where you learn how to cook. So take all the different gifts that the men that had those qualities to clean up, to wash their own clothes.
Right.
You get those stuff from grandma. That's what I mean. So it is parenting that is taught, but it's taught from other people in your family.
And that's what I just said.
So it takes,
from the beginning is that's what I'm talking about when you're talking about collectively the village chipping in and doing that child its due diligence or its justice that it needs because it's missing that part.
Right.
Is and like I just said from the beginning when I initially started out this show today, I just said that we got to a place where we don't even know how we got here. And, like people want to blame it on the music. You want to blame it on every other thing. But I said, is that now that we're talking about the kids going over to grandparents and grandma and grandpa house and like how we grew up in that time. We grew up going to grandma and grandpa house, right?
And it's a lot of kids today.
And I'm not saying anything different than that. What I'm saying is, do you trust your parents with your kids? For the people that are in their 30s, their 40s, and 50s, because I said when we didn't have that place to go, we also had the corrective nature of going to church. We also had, the mothers of the church who would say stuff to you. I've never been treated poorly by any mother of the church when I was growing up. So you know what I'm saying, and that's that's exactly what I'm talking about. But that's what I'm talking about.
That's like dinosaur stories,
and that's what I'm talking about.
So to even have loving, caring women who still has a lot more morals than it is today. Some of the women are just fed up, and some of the men everybody got tricked to say they fed up. You know what I'm saying? Without mother and man, civilization is not built. So I'm like, y'all gonna stop creating? See, that's why I say people forgetting how to be like gods, and y'all acting like these devil gods. And I'm like, this worldly mentality got so many people really lost and confused. So if you came with a righteous presentation behind your behavior and actions, could they accept that? Or would you get done like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X by your own people? Yeah. So you can be the most profound speaker, educator, or whatever, but if you're not taking action and willing to take those steps yourself, none of that stuff mean nothing to you, because it's really like foreign language if you ain't truly committed to that true change. That community build, if that title community is a whole bunch of people. So if a whole bunch of people don't want to do nothing, what could you do? So you got masters out here that's grants, they looking for the weaknesses of us. So it seems like it's easily shown. So if we're not trying to strengthen our weaknesses, you're gonna always be a baby that's needing something that you could have took some steps to, because when you talking about the build, start getting together with some people, because sitting in the house and sitting around and just getting mad, you got to go out there and find that crowd, that right circle, and I ain't just talking about just to be going to stuff to have some nonsense conversation. Pen and paper, my laptop, my Wi-Fi box, and let's build, because ain't no way that we should be behind like this. We should be way ahead of the game, because when these kids see us doing good and living properly, they gonna get in the line, because we'll be able to sustain that behind the things that we give them. We're gonna make sure that we control that, because it's discipline and structure. Without discipline and structure, it's gonna be chaos, and y'all seeing that. But thanks to the system changing to allow people to not take care of their kids in the way that kept them out of trouble with that type of rage and violence, this is what we're going through. So, like I said, it's more of how much can we step into our kids' area and take that change. Are you really gonna let us do that, or you want to soon we do it, come in and implement something, and it'll mess up everything that we built? You know, because some people, I don't know about all, but it's a lot of organizations or stuff like that that don't have that confidence to really take those steps and really stay consistent with something. You know, easily bought out, easily manipulated to just, you know, take somebody else's ideology instead of implement what you know for your peoples. Shame on you. You know, and it's sad that we just that against each other, but we all asking for the solution when you all know what it takes. Come on outside, talk to your kids first, especially those who got ones that's out there in and out or whatever they in, and start to work from there. Yeah. Start teaching them some jewels so they'll know how to be when they come outside. They'll be polished, know how to move, know how to have discernment to know when it's time to exit instead of feeding into energy of beef so you can jack yourself off. You know, if men start telling their kids like that, hey son, there ain't nothing wrong with walking the other way. You ain't got to do that right there or whatever, even do it. Don't let nobody pull you out of character like that. But who is telling they, because I wouldn't tell my son to go out there and unalive nobody.
Right.
I want you to think, because that's what we are, thinkers. We don't just crash out. Because you might be crashing out with somebody who had a bad day and it just totally wasn't even that serious.
But there it is.
You know.
And you know what? One thing about education and the educational system,
right.
You spend 12 years in school, but you spend 12 years in school not able to co-regulate. You don't teach self-regulation in the classroom. You don't teach this. So, you know, we're talking about education and the educational institution and how kids go through. You get sent to the principal's office. What is that teaching you? You get expelled for 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8 days, 10 years. I don't know. You know, expelled from the district, because I went through that. I got expelled from the district for a year.
But we
you know
also
what I'm
know.
But what I'm saying is, as I'm saying this, they don't teach you how to regulate our children. So it's up to the parents to teach your children how to regulate their emotions. You know what I mean? And I know it sounds like it's so easy, but it is not. When you tell your kids to shut up after they went through something that was so traumatic, they need to cry. Suck it up. You know what I mean? You don't have to cry. Don't cry through this. Or, you know, you don't allow them the comfortability of having a space where they can regulate. Let me say that.
I just know a lot of people got a lot of bad spirits.
I know that.
And they be thinking they talking to people correctly. And these young people are not stupid.
They
got the spirit of the ancestors.
Yes,
they not
do.
afraid.
No.
They ain't trying to go for no tricks or games that we already accepted. They don't know none of that. Because they going with what they feeling ain't right. So the thing about that is to try to help them control that and knowing how to balance that out so it don't be disruptive out there. So they tilt their hand and allow these people to take them off the streets and the earth before they time, because y'all the future.
And
so if they can get tricked to react, because we ain't got no solid like how it used to be with structure. You know, we don't do this and that. This is the reason why we don't do that. Because, you know, you a breach of security because you got out of somewhere and we can't be able to monitor your behavior, got everybody worried for you. We was concerned about each other. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear people try to distract you from those tribes that actually taught a lot of us discipline and man qualities, come on now. That stuff stuck with you if you really, really digest that good. So reading and understanding and networking with that wisdom and get it wise here, man, because if you ain't got nobody to call when it's getting rough, man, you might make a bad decision. Hey, man, we need to stick together in some fashion, not for negativity, because that stuff that's so minute, somebody cheating, all this old petty stuff, you know what to do if somebody do that. Leave that type of stuff alone.
Exactly.
You don't have to be back and forth. Hey, if somebody walked out your house, let them go. We ain't got to say nothing, I'm not following. You know what I'm saying? It's just grown people stuff you have to make, because this allows you to still be in control and not jacking yourself off.
But see, and that's the whole very purpose right there. is that this is one of those topics and those conversations that need to be had on a daily basis. You know what? The negativity that we encounter so much on Facebook, so much on TikTok, because that's the majority of everything that we're seeing. Why don't y'all start pumping out what we need to see? Why don't you start recording the videos that are positive videos, because everybody is out here struggling. And what we're seeing is the demise of a population of people that could really take over a nation. But we're not there yet. But our demeanor, our graphics, our nature, stop feeding into the negative realm of pumping out what they want you to see and give us something different.
Right.
Why not break the Facebook and the chat and the TikTok and the Instagram codes by constantly feeding each other positivity? Because this is what we get into right now. If you don't make a real hard, firm decision in your life to make some changes all around, and I'm talking about this is in the ingestion. You know what? Lauryn Hill got a song, and if y'all ain't never heard it, I highly recommend, I suggest you go out and listen to it. It's called Guarding Your Gates. And if I ain't heard a song that's truer to life, and you got to guard your gates on everything. I'm talking about your eyes. Guard your ears and guard your mouth. And the other holes that come in and out too. But what I'm saying is this. Guard yourself. Because, listen, there is so much going on out here and around, and you think we still fighting against a person.
Right.
And y'all still keep falling for this trick that this is all a person. This is such a bigger realm of, listen, we have seen the manifestation of God in our life. And if you haven't encountered him, I suggest, you try to get you one. But what I'm saying is this. There are things that he can do and will do in your life if you will give the opportunity. You know what? Every one of us could be bitter. Every one of us could go out here and spread hate. But you know what? The biggest thing that they wouldn't dare see or dare think that they could see is unity amongst our people. They would not believe they could see the unity that would come together if we would just embrace each other and come to each other with a pure and a real heart. Because I don't think a lot of us, sometimes you need to be shown the act of kindness, and sometimes you need to be shown love. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's something that we all struggle with. Everybody is struggling with relationships. Relationships is one of the biggest topics that you could pull up, you could talk about, you can go in, you can dive in, and it's any relationship. So we're not talking about just, two consenting partners that are in a sexual way. We're talking about every relationship, because relationships are taboo. Relationships determine you, your life, your essence, who you are. They shape, they mold you. So what do you think about this? Our kids are interacting with a screen every day, all day long. They don't even have relationships. They got a computer, a cell phone that they look at a screen. And because that screen is a show, this is what our kids think when they commit a crime. I didn't think that was real because that's what I saw on TV. I have sat with children who have been incarcerated, who've sat in and been in these conversations with them. So I'm telling you something that I've seen and I know. They act like they're so obsolete, like this couldn't have happened to me. Like I wasn't really here. I wasn't really present for this at this moment, because really you weren't. You don't know how to engage with anybody because your forever presence. I put you on that screen at 3, you 15 now. You ain't got no real friends. You don't talk to nobody. You sit in your room. You wear black all day. You're going out in hoods. Now you making relationships with kids that you shouldn't even be making relationships with, because both of y'all are toxic to each other. Now you got little gangs and little activities going on out here where these kids are just irate and upset, but you haven't even taken the time to build with them. You don't know their progression. You don't know what's going on in their life. And so now we're getting into this relationship aspect where now these people are growing up into adulthood. They getting 20s in their 20s now. And so now we're looking at kids that are like so detached. Even when you're
They
talking about
under-nurtured. They never had
employment,
the nurturing of
no,
a concerned parent that
no.
wanted to have vision for their kids to go
No.
somewhere.
And so now you got most parents who don't have their kids that got a job or got anything going. They're wondering, I'm tired of Billy sitting up in the house with me all day. This is stressing me out. You didn't teach Billy nothing.
But they probably didn't get a chance to
I understand
fulfill.
what you're saying.
It's a whole dynamic, but here go the
Right.
programming system. And you even have people that have
we can go around in that circle all day
and
long.
have degrees and still is in a messed up mindset.
We can go around that circle all day long.
But for our culture, we are hurting in many areas that is totally in scrambles that we got to put the puzzle together because
and that's what
you
I
can't.
said.
It's just because to pick out certain things, like you said, we can pick out one or two and it can almost chop down a lot of things, but it's something that we really got to take more action towards and really giving a solution to healing. What is some techniques and tools that can help be proficient young teenage mothers that they can start with, because those are the ones that needed, the ones that didn't have the proper family support even though they had children, because we knowing that a lot of these young ladies don't have no family support even after having children from their parents and the child's father's parents. So it's a whole different dynamics of what a lot of these mothers that's behind having children by men for fun, thought it was going to be this certain way, not having a longevity relationship, 3 to 5 years, 6 months, but having children in the midst of those periods of time of just dating. That's just being irresponsible. But who teaches those things about that? Just sex education and the adulthood and what can create a life, and what times you should pay attention to moving that fast. Because like I say, without the males in there, because nobody's acting like the males are important to have in there, but it's showing that other teaching and discipline that would have schooled those children or young ladies about the areas out there that can happen when you're going out there unprepared, unprotected.
And young men.
Young men the same way. They can go out there wild as a horse thinking that it's okay just to be unprotected, and not knowing you living like a beast, because you finna create something that you don't even know that's gonna exist.
Yep. But like we're just talking about random thoughts at this point, random just conversations. But a lot of it is just truth findings. And then what do you do from finding out these truths? What do you do in your community? What do you do in your neighborhood? Because now at this point in time, we're beyond a lot of points. We're beyond a rapid response, because I feel like the rapid response should have been there years ago, decades ago. So what do you do in the midst of this is the real questioning. We've got so many various organizations out here, and you want to do a shout out to Tracy.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
That's my man.
Right.
Yeah,
but I believe that he does what he says he does.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good brother there.
I'm telling you. So, but there are also other organizations where I wouldn't hold a candle to them. You know what? It's the simple things that you got to do in the truth telling of your businesses. At least if you're going to advertise that you're a rapid response and a crisis response or a outreach type of situation, you should do that work. Because more than ever, we at a time where this work is so necessary. Well, like I said, we're beyond the point of where this should have been happening 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. But now we're here. And like I said, if you're going to say that you're doing this, you know what? The evidence is going to be in the number of bodies that we see on the streets.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. And I hate to be so graphic with that, but it's the truth of the matter. Because you know what? I think everybody, especially a young person, They should have one person that they can call if they feel like I can't take no more.
Mm-hmm.
You should have one person that can call, that you should be able to call and be like, you know what? Even if it is old Mr. Draper, I don't even know what he gonna do. You know what I mean? But he told you to call him no matter what, right? So this is what I'm saying. This is what we're interacting with. We're getting so many kids that are out here, and I feel like they just don't have nobody. Because sometimes you just needed that one person to tell you, no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that if I was you, you know? Because the voice of reason has been gone. But that physical person might be able to step in and save somebody's life. And this outreach piece, this navigation between the schools, navigation between what's going on. I said, you know what? It's so many things that I feel like could be put into place, but they would have to pay me for my ideas. You know what I mean? Literally, that's where I'm at right now. And it's not that I don't want to share. It's just that if I was any other race, you wouldn't say anything else different about it. Because they can share ideas, implement a plan, and get paid for it. But if I say something like that, then I'd be wrong. You know what I mean? So I think we need to backtrack with how we viewing each other and realize that, you know what? Somebody else might have something that could save somebody's life. And you know what? I need to be able to give that person a chance in order to do it. Because, the proof is in the pudding. If you've been a person of resources and you've been a person that can calm the crowd, just like, you've sat and worked with men and calm complete situations down from escalations. So this is what I'm saying. This is very important. Relationship building, skill set building, navigation between different organizations. Those are skills that everybody don't have. And I think a lot of failure comes from the fact that people aren't in positions where they're supposed to be. But I really feel like we're in a turnaround. I feel like some organizations are getting the benefit of the doubt and being able to do things that they've never been able to do. And we're actually seeing the benefit of that. Tracy Dace is one of those.
Right.
The other lady, the Well Experience, Janice Mitchell, Nance, I believe that they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and they've been elevated into those positions. I can't forget Hub. I believe that these people are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
What
because
was the one over in Decatur, the Carlotta Weathers, was that World Service?
Yeah, Carlotta.
Yeah. No,
But
she's a lot of it's good people.
It's
out
some
here
people
trying
out here
that
that's
just
really
need
trying.
the help and assistance,
Right?
And people to come out and be supportive,
right?
And y'all got to give them a chance to do the right thing, because y'all tried everybody else.
That's what I'm saying.
Y'all tried
That's
everybody else, and they let y'all down.
Over and over
y'all funding
again.
These people, y'all keeping these people in play. They tried.
Yeah.
Y'all have to try fresh mindsets, and honestly, if you truly have that lived experience, that is the education that's needed to teach them not to ever do that, because you know all the ins and outs of that.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And these kids need to know that, not to embrace our painful years and our essence of character that we showed out of just being, naive and just chasing something to try to just have some type of status or stability behind just trying to survive. We left stains of behavior behind that people embrace as if it's cool to be a killer, a dope dealer.
Right.
It's like a badge of honor. People have, when you came home, like you did a real thing. You sacrificed yourself for nothing. It looked like it was for something.
Right.
But you lost so much. Those long, extensive bits. We lose the bond with our children, man. That's why we can't say nothing to them.
Right.
They don't know us, man.
No.
They don't know us. That's why those kids can't really relate to a dad or somebody that's been gone 10, 15, 20 years. And then if you keep going back, how do they know you, man?
Yeah.
These kids don't know you.
No.
So it's realistic stuff that we got to look at of the bed we made. And this is the outcome, how it comes. Do we give up? Absolutely not. But as adults become in their age, you have to wait till they willing to make amends, to come in and learn how to repair, because they've been dysfunctional ever since we all left their life. So you can't expect them to come out and have this fantasy belief that they supposed to have discipline, structure, and all these different things to be well-balanced citizens out here, or just people that just moving. But when you trigger so easily out here, and there's nobody out here for counsel, therapy, without it being a fee, most of the stuff that we need healing, what people charge you for. You know, most of the stuff that really take you to the next level of information, people charge you for. You know, so it's the mindset of the individuals that we running in, that we have in the midst of us, that really like to dangle things in people's face, but like to tease you. And I believe that's the stuff that creates bitterness and hatred when people do stuff like that. Even though you don't owe them nothing, but you don't have to advertise something if you know, and it's just for you. Enjoy your stuff. Because if you trying to share and put something out there, if you're looking for somebody to praise you for some material stuff that you can't take with you when you leave, and time is ticking, so you only got a little bit with it. But what means the most that can be impactful and leave a legacy that you can say, hey, these are some real items and some stuff that I want to leave behind.
Right.
You know, some real jewels and some stuff that changed some people's life, that they don't have to go through nothing I ever been through, and any of the partners I knew that was real men that survived that lifestyle, man. You still here, man. Congratulations. But it ain't no pat on the back. We just got to get to work, because we got a lot of stuff to clean up.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the basis of our conversation today.
Right.
Is how much work are you willing to put into your community, your neighborhood, your own family? Because let's start off there.
Right.
It's a lot of things that need to be forgiven within the family.
Right.
In order for us to move past a lot of things. You know what? In scripture it talks about you supposed to keep constantly forgiving you forgive your enemy. You forgive the people on your job faster than you forgive the people in your house.
That's crazy.
You treat the people on the job better than you treat the people in your house.
Because you looking at it as if it's something more important.
That's my.
You feel me?
That's the point.
But we do that unconsciously.
Exactly.
Give other situations a higher importance than really what's important for us, especially your families, your goals, your integrity, your morals. You can't allow nothing to break those things when it's built from you, and you knowing that's what made you the character you is to where you exist. You know what I'm saying? So that's why people have different spiritual rankings, where people respect the things you say because you have a good soul that reap that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People don't like, if you know when people have that bad energy where or just the things that they say out their mouth that sound like I shouldn't even write it down. I don't even want to hear it no more. Yeah. Because it's meaningless.
Yeah.
But when it's that fruit come around and it's true knowledge and it makes sense, the soul will tell you that's the truth. Because you know the truth. You know, it's just, do you accept it?
Yeah. You know, so like I'm saying, we need to start from the basics and from the baseline. You know, if you're going to start forgiving and you want to start working with your teens, your family, your kids, your community, you know, maybe you should start at home. Maybe you should start with forgiving the people that you need to forgive in your life before you can move on to the next chapter. And maybe that's why you're still stuck in that same chapter. It's because you haven't forgiven. So I'm just suggesting. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you this is the way of water. I ain't, you know, that was a movie. If you don't know. Anyway, but like I'm explaining, excuse me, sometimes you just need to start out there, because sometimes it's very hard for people to move past what hurt them in my home before I can go out here and move on and start ministering other people's lives, you know. And sometimes I don't think, you know, for your own soul salvation, sometimes it won't trigger you if you're in a healed state.
Right.
You know, because I hear about a lot of people saying that triggers me. That triggers me. I don't understand that, because
I just feel we also left the house a little too fast.
Oh.
A lot of us shouldn't have left home until we truly got some teachings. You know what I'm saying? Because you got like 17, 16, 15, 18, 19 taking off.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? Without fully getting the whole full, you know, every essence of what I need to come out here.
Come on.
And to allow all our kids to just go out here into this mean world and really not
But don't you
them.
think that's why a lot of parents keep their kids at home now to
absolutely.
where they like...
But they don't articulate it like that for the youth to understand why I'm on you to really be concerned for you going out there in the wilderness without me there, because I can't monitor you. I know I ain't gave you all the best jewels yet to really see all these serpents. You won't be able to see the attacks and things because there's so much that you don't even know that's out there. And that's where people get stuck, keep engaging and learning and going into consequences and stuff for stuff that you didn't know that was out there. You know, because every time you take a step in an arena, it's got to be some type of formation of how it go. It's either gonna end well or end in tragedy. You know, but you know those areas of stuff that, because they got titles on them that also cause friction where you know it might not be a good idea. And we fight over that and go into those things that we know that's not a good idea because it seems like it's easy. It's something that you're willing to take a risk for. You know, just like when you talk about trusting and all that stuff, behind the game alone, it didn't damage the trust factor of people. Even people who probably didn't play the streets. They even acting like they was in the streets. Now they acting like everybody betrayed them. I'm like, y'all ain't did nothing but broke up with each other or had a little cuss out fight. This real street life, organization life, and all that stuff does a whole total different rearrangement to you behind it, because you had so many people that was your family. And for it to just turn over materialistic stuff, street crimes, people getting busted, all these different things change the dynamics of it, because once the gloves come off and everything comes up for grabs, self-preservation kicks in. And I promise you, people, nobody out here want to die for nobody that you don't even love. So, and people out here pretending like they love, and then when it comes to a test to see if they love you, you gonna see it. It's not any hidden agendas behind when people out here showing you who they is. Wow. But when you used to living in a traumatic way of life, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
You're always giving somebody an excuse to how they can stay close to you and hurt you. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't say if you just wanted friends, but you wanted to have some companions that to even just go through what you're going through. You ever been to those friends and families' houses that it's just as chaotic as yours? They fathers beating their moms, or any stories that's weird like that, and then y'all act like it's normal after y'all go outside and start playing. But that kid that got to go back into those houses like that, what is their mindset, as they growing up for years and years with that type of trauma? You got them thinking as an adult, I got to protect my mama or something the next time somebody do something like that. I can't, and that defeats a young man when you a little guy and you can't do nothing to somebody big hurting your mother. What do you think that does to your ego? Because I know you want to protect, but when you can't. So all that stuff does so many effects to kids, you know what I'm saying, that we don't really pay attention to behind our behaviors. Because we might think, I ain't did nothing to the kid, but the actions that I showed, it totally affecting them because they got a misconstrued version of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
A misconstrued version of yourself to your kids is horrible. Because you thinking that they truly understand you when they don't. So the kids go out there with a misunderstanding of parenting behavior, and they don't even know how to judge what is love. If you do start loving your kid, what do you think is the cues that they can understand that you love them? Because you say it? Because is love the word or is the action? I mean, what type of sacrifices would a person do with their kid to continue to keep building them? Because a parent got to be selfless. He can't be selfish. So it's like, and I got to give up a few things for my child to get more progress because I have the wisdom that they need. You only can speak like that when you're confident and you know you have that wisdom that these kids need. So some of us are being called out here to give to these young youth some of these experiences because those are lessons that's needed, that's not taught in there. Like we've spoken, they're giving kids iPhones, iPads, and that's how they getting their teachings. No interaction.
No.
You know, a lot of stuff they cut out of school, no cursive writing, stuff that they don't understand. Those contracts, when you can't, if you're not having the proper information to move out here in today's time in 2026, all the upgrades, all the laws that's passed, that's against us, that we're not a part of, and you need to definitely know these things. We need to talk about this stuff, because the actions that we take today, if you're trying to think about doing some of a criminal mindset or whatever, listen, this is the rules and this is the doggone penalties for this.
Mm-hmm.
We making songs about stealing out of stores and spending it, and it seems like it's a trend to just get sent off.
It's always the
and it's
trend.
just crazy. I'm like, seriously.
You know, who got that song, Mrs. Trendsetter? But anyway, that's what we are. We're trendsetters that don't get paid for it. But anyway, we winding on down. It's 3:48. We got a few more minutes captivity to lead the people into the right directions. We don't ever try to send y'all off on nothing. Especially something that's untrue. Anyway, we're wrapping things up, wrapping it down. It's the end of the week. It's the 1st of August. School starts back. You know, it's pretty wild and free right now in the town. Everything is pretty solemn and quiet. There's no real traffic on the movement out here in the city, which is great. But I know we're on the cusp of the school year starting back in. And we're about to see, you know, what happens this year. You know, we got a few more years up under this regime. And we're seeing the effects of it always. It's just amazing to me right now. But yeah, let me give my special shout out to our friends over here. You know, I had an amazing lunch over
J&M.
Is it J&M? Yeah,
J&M's barbecue up there in the mall in there.
Oh my God, that gym over there.
They definitely brisket is off the chain.
That turkey it was delicious.
Yeah, they definitely.
I had recorded a video earlier while you was outside of me eating my food, but I'll post that later. But anyway, that it was amazing. I appreciate y'all over there so much. I told them we're gonna try to do a little something with them pretty soon. But like I said, we're winding on down. It's 3:50. It's Thursday afternoon, so we were going to talk about the wildfires. We have to talk about that because that's what I started out talking about, right? It was a young man.
It supposed to have been kind of well rounded a little bit, all that, but
yeah,
like
the young man that was.
To me, all these fires is happening. It's just
crazy.
I don't
Something
know
happening.
if it's Mother Nature and things is, or it can be these doggone people doing this stuff to burn out them lands and take them people out their area so they can go in there and do their smart cities and all this other stuff. So I mean, it could be so many different thoughts to this.
It is,
but we will find out when the smoke clear who bowed up fast, because we're gonna show you who rushing to it.
Right.
One thing about a greedy person, they can't hold their hand. They gotta go on tilt it.
But like I said, from the beginning of this story, because you know it was on the news the other day, yesterday. It's been trending, I guess, all day, that the young man or the man that was being accused of it right now, one of them anyway, killed his father a few years back, like 10, 15 years ago, and was released. And then now you're an arsonist. And I said,
he got out on bond?
No, like they released him.
Oh, so he didn't have to pay nothing. He just got out on his own recognizance.
On his own recognizance. It was time like he was doing some probation, I think. But they released him freely to the world is what I'm saying. Which I'm like, we have young African American or young people of color that go to jail every day. He was found. He said he did it. I believe that's the story. If I'm wrong, somebody else tell me. But
if the world can't see,
man,
truly,
there's
no way that is being hidden.
Not
the
anymore.
Corruption,
No.
and just the mindsets of
what
the abuse of power could look like.
What it is.
Oh man.
What it is right now. This is
what's
up.
This is something that you should never forget in
Never.
your time if you're witnessing this and going through this, because
I'm telling you,
for those who never truly experienced those older ancient time acts that happen. Y'all seeing spurts and remembrance of it, little hangings and things like this stuff. Listen, it was way more
way
back
worse,
then.
way worse.
It's like really people shocked and they making it look like his friend having bad accidents. No, this how they was doing then, but it was way worse.
Way.
So they gotta hide it in different type of outfits and different groups to make it like they ain't the same group that did it back then. They the same people.
Even we talking about even the media, because we know that the media is hiding so much from us. And if you're not going out here and circulating in the communities to hear it from the neighbors or the people in the city themselves, we're not getting the true stories. The government and everything is putting such a fear in people right now that everybody is really scared to even say anything.
I don't think people scared. I think people just being alert, because just in case, it's different era than those back then. I ain't say them brothers and stuff didn't stand up, but they was a little naive because they wanted to thought if we always had some type of meeting or some conversation, it was going to get better. Some type of bill that will be passed if y'all don't do this.
Right.
And, we kept falling for to, just fall back, brothers and sisters, and they're going to straighten it out, and they never do.
Right.
So, and it's that full, true understanding that they don't want to never do it. They said we ain't giving y'all nothing.
Yes.
So it ain't no more plain and clear understanding on that. So whatever the thought process and the creation of building that's needed to be done, like I say, it's either now or never. Because you don't know what the next year can be implemented that probably wipe out anything for people even be able to get any type of employment, assistance, or whatever, because they working on almost all the areas where people need to survive. Everywhere you turn is something cut off or not available anymore. And those are the areas where people mostly need it. You're talking about Medicaid and all these other areas. Imagine the great-great-grandmamas that's still on those devices and machines and medicines, and then they can't afford that because they done worked all their life and everything then got jacked up and fluctuated, and you start robbing people bank accounts by having $6 gas, $4 gas, then give you $2 gas for 2 weeks, and then it's back $4, $5. The bags of chips $6. 25-cent chips is $1.50, $2. A little bottle of water $2.50, but they're $1. I mean, we getting robbed in every area you go to. So it's like they trying to bleed us. Because they knowing that there's no way you can save at a capacity like this when everything is constantly going up. Attacking your funds. It's truly
you
strategic.
Can't.
It's
you
truly
really,
strategic.
Yeah, you really can't. Like right now, this economy, and like I said all the time, if we don't learn to work together, this is the whole purpose, is that we really need to formulate a plan of action to work together with each other. Right. And the elevation of each other, the building up of each other goes hand in hand with this, because, the encouragement that you get from one another will outlast more things than we really hoped for. This is crazy. Time is just ticking. So right now we got like 4 minutes till we end the show for today. Today is Thursday. Have we forgotten anything? Is it anybody's birthday? Do we need to do a little special shout? Let me give a shout out to my own son, who will be 32 years old on the 9th of August.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Right. Listen.
All right.
It's that birthday song that they was singing last time. They added some other pieces to the end of it, because I was like, what is they singing? But anyway, yeah, happy birthday, Bubby. You getting up there. Listen, let me tell you.
Yes,
I seem to be aging backwards, though. It is what it is. Some things happen like that in life. Sometimes you're just blessed and gifted like that because the Lord sees fit to rain down on you and not others. And I appreciate him for that on today.
I ain't said nothing. I ain't said nothing. I'm just,
sometimes he wants to do the right thing.
I'm listening.
He wants to do the right things. And he's just showing evidence of that, because I'm rich in other categories that other people are, that's immeasurable. It's immeasurable.
But to be grateful.
Absolutely.
The grateful and gratitude for just being able to wake up another day.
Holla.
you know, that's priceless, you know.
Man, you absolutely right. I hope when everybody got up this morning, or that you'll make it a part of your everyday mornings, to just be in a grateful mindset. You know, a lot of things can discourage you. A lot of things can make you feel like you don't have the fortitude and the capabilities to go on to your next day. But you know what? You really do have it.
Wow.
You know, and I got to leave on this note, like I just told Leah yesterday. You know, I was sitting in the living room, and, you know, I hear God talking to me, and I know a lot of people say whatever they want to say about that. But you know what? I heard this voice clearly tell me that you got everything you need for your situation right now. And you know what? I believe that. I believe that each of us has everything that you need to survive in your situation right now.
Right.
It doesn't matter what tomorrow is, because guess what? You'll have even more to survive your situation tomorrow. So, you know, I'm hoping that everybody is just diligent in the aspect of trying to create a better and healthier and more wholesome and more spiritual life for themselves. You know, get yourself in tune. It's 3:59, sweetheart. What are you gonna say? You wrap it up.
Well, I like to say, I just hope that everybody had some type of thought process, you know, to go back and recollect some things, you know, and try to work and help figure out some stuff in y'all communities. You know, go out there and just knock on some doors, you know, for the people that you can reach. You know, and give some suggestions to those organizations that say they helping in y'all community, and really see if they want to take some real surveys that really they can implement. Like I said, it takes everybody at one time, man. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and y'all have a beautiful evening.
Absolutely. Y'all, you've been on Live with Afternoons with Delight. Like I said, at the top of the hour, each hour. We're at the end, y'all. Have a great afternoon, evening. Take care of yourselves. And we will be out of here in just about a minute here. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
WRFU 104.5 Community Radio, homemade by the community, for the community.
Okay, we out. Bye, y'all.